Okay, so I'm going to start off this video by admitting that I do not play a lot of Stadium. This is going to be mostly from an outsider's perspective on the game mode. And I'm making this video specifically because I really feel like there's a problem. And the problem is that Blizzard, I think, is trying to kill Stadium or doesn't realize that they're screwing up Stadium. And I've only played a couple of games of Stadium, at like maybe 5 total, okay? And I just played some for this video, obviously. But I'm saying this because I think that there is just an abundance of now heroes that shouldn't be in Stadium getting put into Stadium, and I'm not sure why. The original heroes that they put in were good, like cool concepts, and they made some sense. They're pretty simple, and they had a lot of, you know, ability to, I would say you could make iterations of them pretty easily, right? However, now they're adding heroes like Pharah, like Tracer, like Hazard, who are all heroes that are an issue in the game itself, like the base game, without all of the craziness of Stadium, you know, put into it. So I, you know, saw these heroes getting put in there, and I said, like, this has got to be bad. Like, this is gonna not work out, and people are gonna be mad. And lo and behold, it seems like people are mad, okay? Browsing forums, asking a lot of my community whether or not Stadium is getting, you know, effed with, or Blizzard is screwing up Stadium. There seems to be problems. And, well, you know, you could be asking, why are new heroes a problem? And I said, some of them just don't belong in a game like Stadium. So when they first made Stadium, this is only 3 seasons ago, mind you, we're only 3 seasons into Stadium. They had heroes which made a lot of sense. They had some that didn't, but they had heroes that made a lot of sense, okay? They had Reaper, who is a simple kit. I know I love Reaper, but Reaper is a simple kit, easy to build on, easy to understand what Reaper does on a base level. And they also had heroes like Soldier. They had Mercy, I think, is good. I think Zen is fine. Zen is easy to build on. Zen does not have like a whole lot to his kit that you don't even know what's happening in his base kit like you do with many others. And, you know, you have Cass, who's obviously simple, and, what's the other good ones? Oh, right, obviously, Ryan and Queen. Ryan and Queen are already amazingly designed tanks just for the base game, and to be able to build off of their kits is a great idea in Stadium. I think that's perfect. But when you know, already had some heroes that were a bit of a problem to begin with, like Sigma and Diva having bloated kits in the base game and now obviously bloated in Stadium, it's like, why add heroes that are obviously going to be an issue? Like I said, like Tracer. Tracer has been the most broken hero in almost all of Overwatch forever. Then you add the only consistent flyer. I know that, you know, we have Freya and Mercy and Echo, why would you ever put Pharah in before Echo? I mean, like, Echo just feels like a Stadium hero. I don't know why. She just does. She has a simple kit. You know, she's nowhere near as oppressive as Pharah can be when Pharah is broken. And everyone's broken in Stadium. Like, no matter what they do, those heroes in Stadium will always be broken. And obviously we get someone like Torb when we could have someone instead, like, I don't know, Bastion would be better even. Bastion, like, you're like, well, what about the turret? The turret can be super OP. Again, everything's OP. Everything's disgusting, but it's less slop, I would say. That's a good word for it, slop. I don't need to see all these turrets. I don't need to see all of Torb's magma everywhere all the time. You know, it's just heroes that are already a major issue, not just in low elo or just in high elo, but like Torb is an issue all over the place because he's got a friggin' turret. And he's got a tiny shotgun, and he's small, you know, stuff like that. But, I mean, Bastion is an issue, you know, for players that don't know how to shoot a giant robot. But, that, you know, that's just me. And then, like, I don't know why Wuyang isn't in the game. Wuyang just also feels like a hero designed for Stadium. But, you know, whatever. Let's just not add one of our new heroes into the game like we did with Freya. Freya was also a hero that I don't think needs to be in there. Like, her kit's insane. Her kit's, like, actually kind of wild. And then there's when they have Soj in there, and Soj has been broken for so long and had so many different issues. It's just like, I just don't think they're thinking. And I don't know, like, why they're not thinking about it, because they put so much time into Stadium, clearly. Like, you have to, in order to even keep Stadium running. So, like, why they would decide that they would add these characters with bloated kits or already annoying base kits doesn't make much sense to me. And I could be barking up the wrong tree here. You know, I'm going to stop right here in the middle of this. If you think that I'm way off base, please tell me in the comments, because, again, this is not a game mode that I play. And some of you might be saying, well, if you don't play it, then why do you even care? And because I think Stadium is good for Overwatch. Stadium probably got a lot of new players to play the game, and Stadium will probably keep a certain player base playing the game, right? Like, maybe a lot of Overwatch 1ers that are sick of, 5v5 Overwatch 2 are now playing Stadium. In my opinion, I think a lot of them are. And there's probably just people that only play Stadium now and haven't played the base game in a long time, or came back specifically for Stadium, right? You get what I'm saying. You get my point. But I think Stadium is good. I do. So that's why I want it to be, actually represented well by the balance patches. And it's just, I don't think they're doing that. Again, it might be an outside perspective, but still, like... How is Ramantra not in there, by the way? When are we going to give Ram some love? Please give Ram some love. Just put him in Stadium. Make people love him more. I don't know. I really don't. Again, I don't play it, but I'm just gonna question it, because that's all I can do, really. With all that being said, or, I don't know what I really said, but with everything I just said, I have to pose a specific question. And I've asked a couple of my friends that play Stadium, and a couple of other people that I know only play Stadium. How much of the dev team is Blizzard giving to Stadium, right? And how many players are playing Stadium? These are questions that I have, because I don't think that the Stadium player base is as big, or even the same, whatever, as the main game mode, as the 5v5 game mode. Or you can lump in 6v6 with 5v5 in this one, because 6v6 is so insignificant. It's a part of the main game. We'll just say that. How many people are playing Stadium? Because I know that there's a significant portion of the devs going to Stadium, and you have to. Stadium is a difficult game to keep up. But how long are they going to keep getting both games wrong, while not, giving or delivering on the main game mode? Does that make sense to you? So, Stadium isn't the main game mode, but it gets probably the same, if not more, dev attention than the base game, I think. And I could be totally wrong with that, but if you read through the last couple of patch notes, the amount of heroes that get changed and switched around in Stadium is so much more than the amount of heroes that get changed and switched around in the base game. And that's not because I don't like Stadium. I don't want that to, I don't want to be represented that way. I think Stadium is good for the game, again. But how much of the dev time is truly needed to be giving both these games poor balance patches? Does that make sense? Maybe we just start to get more into the base game. Let's get the base game right, and then try and work on Stadium, and let Stadium grow on its own. This is not me saying abandon Stadium. That is not what I'm saying. But Stadium does need to mature on its own. You need to develop your own metas before you switch around everything like this. And this is coming from someone who understands a little bit about MOBAs, not too much. But I understand that you need to let, like, a meta grow up, right? Like, you can't just have all these changes happen and people not know what's going on like they do with all the new heroes incoming. But they're supposed to be adding 3 every season. So, whatever, I guess. I can't really say. Again, I want to reiterate one more time. I want Stadium in the game. I'm not saying that they should give up on Stadium. I'm just posing the question of whether or not they're putting too much time in Stadium for only to get it wrong. Does that mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're getting both of the balance patches wrong. Maybe we need to, focus in, hone in here. And you guys got to tell me. Obviously, I say this at the end of every video, but literally, I'm a layman in this topic. I like to think I'm a relative expert on the base game. Relative expert, relative. But I know literally next to nothing about Stadium other than the fact that it's in Overwatch. That is literally it. And that it's clearly getting bloated. So, is Blizzard killing Stadium? And is it based off of what I am observing here and telling you in this video? Is that a factor? Is there more factors? Do you even play Stadium? Because now, like I said, I want to know how many people are playing Stadium. And if you don't, do you think that the devs should be focusing on the base game more? All of these things are big questions that I have about Stadium, and I'm going to be playing more of it just so I can figure it out, because I did have a good time. I played Junkrat, but I only played a little bit. So, we'll see. Goodbye.